I am very excited to be with you today to share my vision about the future of mobile. What you will hear and see in this presentation is the result of our journey as a three-person bootstrap startup from London. You can access a copy of this presentation along with some illustrations via etsy.me/html5. This will work on iOS and Android smartphones, preferably in Chrome or Safari, and also on iOS and Android tablets. Don't forget to have JavaScript enabled and private browsing off. If you prefer to use your laptop, no problem. That's the beauty of a cross-platform application. We'll get back to Etsy in the end, but let me just tell you that Etsy.me is a mobile web app to create mobile web apps. First of all, let me apologize. Yes, we are deeply biased. I mean, we love HTML5. We just love it, kind of madly maybe. That's what we're being told almost every week. But when you are truly in love with someone, or in our case, something, you make all the efforts needed to go beyond the early days of passion and create a sustainable relationship. And I can speak for both Alex, my co-founder, and myself to tell you that our love for web-based mobile development is growing each and every day. But it wasn't always like that. We had our dark side, our native moments. To tell you the truth, when we started working on Etsy in December 2012, my idea was to use web development to build our mobile application, and then to go hybrid and wrap this creation using PhoneGap or something similar to distribute Etsy on the app stores. Why? Simply because this is what everyone does, or to be more precise, it is what everyone has been doing since 2008, when Apple launched the App Store. Almost 6 years ago, which now seems like an eternity, on July the 10th, 2008, Steve Jobs officially opened the App Store, an extension of the iTunes distribution model. The App Store launched with 500 apps. Today, there are more than 1 million apps on the platform. Not bad, I mean, not a bad number. But what about the early days of the iPhone, before the launch of the App Store? What was the original vision of Steve Jobs, one that wasn't totally possible to achieve in June 2007, for some reasons? Let's have a closer look. Let's remember that one last thing.
But I do have one last thing that I want to talk about. And that, of course, is the iPhone. The iPhone ships on June 29th. That is just 18 days from today. I believe at 6 p.m. in the evening they will go on sale. June 29th, 18 days from today. Now, what about developers? What about developers? We have been trying to come up with a solution to expand the capabilities of iPhone by letting developers write great apps for it and yet keep the iPhone reliable and secure. And we've come up with a very sweet solution. And let me tell you about it. So, we've got an innovative new way to create applications for mobile devices. Really innovative. And it's all based on the fact that iPhone has the full Safari inside it. The full Safari engine is inside of iPhone. And it gives us tremendous capability, more than has ever been in a mobile device to this date. And so you can write amazing Web 2.0 and AJAX apps that look exactly and behave exactly like apps on the iPhone. And these apps can integrate perfectly with iPhone services. They can make a call. They can send an email. They can look up a location on Google Maps. After you write them, you have instant distribution. You don't have to worry about distribution. Just put them on your internet server. And they're really easy to update. Just change the code on your own server rather than having to go through this really complex update process. And they're secure with the same kind of security you'd use for transactions with Amazon or a bank. And They run securely on the iPhone so that they don't compromise its reliability or security. And guess what? There's no SDK that you need. You've got everything you need if you know how to write apps using the most modern web standards to write amazing apps for the iPhone today. You can go live on June 29th.
This is exactly what motivated us to take up the challenge of building an outstanding mobile web app, smooth and easy to use, one that could rival with its native counterparts. We approached this as a game we would play against ourselves and against the status quo. A game to execute the vision Steve Jobs introduced before the App Store, to prove that there is a future beyond the App Stores. Our vision is that the period we've been living since July 2008 is a transition to something different, something that we actually already know and experience every day on our personal computers, the freedom of the open web. The open web, where the URL is the fundamental unit of sharing. This reminds me of something I saw 3 weeks ago. It was just in the middle of the Facebook F8 keynote. This is Ilya Sutskever, the CEO of Parse, sharing nostalgic memories of days gone by. Listen.
Now I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart, and hopefully near and dear to yours, the URL. I've been working with the URL for as long as I can remember. The URL is just beautiful. It made the web beautiful. The web is still beautiful. And the URL is the fundamental unit of sharing. I remember using the URL and sending it to people on email, on IRC, on ICQ, and AIM, on Facebook, certainly, and even MySpace. I mean, every communication platform that has existed, still exists, will exist, is going to use the URL. And it's a shame that it's not really a big deal on mobile right now.
Okay, so now let's jump into the subject of our presentation. What's the future for those guys, the native app stores? Paraphrasing the Sex Pistols, we believe the future isn't really bright for the traditional app stores. Okay, when you look at a graph like this one, you could tell me, Fred, are you crazy or what? Don't you see that this trend is going up increasingly fast? And that's true. The platform is doing well. But does it mean it will always do? Do you remember this and that? Sorry guys, eternity doesn't exist, even for tremendously successful companies. Nothing is forever, not even a global success story. Along with BlackBerry, MySpace is another striking example. So the rise and fall of the app stores is an open possibility we can rationally envision. And there are pretty good reasons to consider a doomed outcome for those distribution outlets. So let's discuss 7 reasons why app stores are doomed. But to see it from a positive point of view, I could have titled my speech, Welcome to the Post-App Stores Era. Let's start by bringing back some memories of the good old days. What's funny about evolution is that it repeats itself from platform to platform. Do you remember the early days of connecting a PC to the internet? Do you remember this sound? Let's have a look at the very native experience of the internet pioneers.
America Online can do all that?
Yeah. How about sending your mom some nice flowers? All you do is click on Marketplace. We place an order.
Call now for America Online, a new way to use your computer to communicate, have fun, and get instant news and information.
Flowers are sent. Now let's access the online travel service.
How long have you had this?
About a week. And it's so easy. All you do is point and click.
But how does it work?
All you need is a computer and a regular phone line. They send you the software and give you 10 free hours to check it out.
Call now for your free America Online Startup Kit and get free software and 10 free online hours. It's everything you need to get online.
Plane tickets are ordered. Now, let's look up dinosaurs. What do you think? Compton's Encyclopedia or National Geographic?
You get all that with America Online?
Yeah, you can read Business Week online before it hits the newsstand.
Update your stock portfolio every 15 minutes with PC Quote. You can even play fantasy football.
Call now for 10 free hours of America Online and get instant access to the worlds of sports, finance, computing, and entertainment.
Here come the dinosaurs. I save you a trip to the library.
That's great.
Yeah, downloading is easy too. You know, I can even send email on the internet. And of course, there's my personal favorite, live chat. That's how I met my new kayaking buddies. We'll check that out later, after the game.
This is the way it worked in the early PC days, when AOL was the main window to the internet. In the same way as most native apps are actually well-crafted, beautiful windows to the internet today. And the funny thing is that most of those services can be accessed via web browsers on a desktop computer. So now, let's list what I think are the 7 main reasons why app stores are doomed and will be overthrown by the open web in the post-app stores era. The first reason is that the download access flow is just bad. Let's see first the native flow, from a URL mention in a tweet to actually opening the app. Let's take the example of Snapchat.com. I receive a tweet promoting the service, I tap or I click on the link, I go to their website, which invites me to go to the App Store to download the app, I start downloading the app, I get it, and then I finally get access to the application. And now, let's see the web flow, from a URL mention to the app experience. It's just one tap, one click away. What is the genuine value of a download when 25% of the users open an app just once after downloading it, and 69% will open it 10 times or less, which means that the vast majority of people downloading a native app won't become long-time users. Actually, in the native world, you can't escape the download. It's like a door you must open to access the content, good or bad. In some cases, a download could actually be compared to a visit for a website, because there is simply no other way to enjoy the content than going through the download experience. Remember this next time you'll read impressive download numbers. Ask for active users instead, or at least registered users. But when you don't like the content, after spending so much time tapping on links and waiting for a download, you just delete the app, slam the door, and never come back, simply because the flow has consumed so much of your precious time for a crappy experience. Ask yourself, how many times did you come back to an app you had violently trashed? I'd like also to mention the international issue. The fact that some apps are only available in some regional app stores, whereas the internet is global by essence. Countless times, I bumped into a country warning telling me that I couldn't download an app advertised on the internet. This is such a bad experience. Here is the second reason why we'll be better off in a post-app stores era. Updates are just a pain. Updates are a pain both for the app creators and for their users. If you want to adapt your design or modify your content, you have to submit the update to the App Store, and if accepted, the users have to download the update. Okay, in iOS 7 you have automatic updates as an option, but it's even worse when you have 50 apps constantly updating in the background, slowing down your device. As a user, if you don't update the app, you simply run an outdated version, and most users don't even know it. Iteration based on customer feedback and market evolution, as well as adding new features, are critical for any fast-moving startup. And it's much easier in a web environment than via the App Store's closed systems. On the web, you simply commit the update, and next time users open your app, it's totally fresh, frictionless. Third reason, discovery is just terrible. Searching for interesting apps in an app store is almost like looking for content in the dark ages of the early internet. Sometimes it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. There are some discovery apps offered by independent vendors, but for obvious commercial reasons, their results are often biased, and they don't give a comprehensive picture of the ecosystem. Moreover, incentivized app installs are impacting the App Store charts, so crucial to get a chance to be noticed. There's no real long-tail benefit on the App Stores, where popular apps get the majority of downloads in what we could call an exacerbated Pareto pattern, the famous 80%, 20% law. And the abandonment rate of the apps downloaded via those incentivized schemes is extremely high, giving a totally false picture of the actual cost per install. On the web, you simply use Google or another traditional search engine, and if you apply SEO best practices, your mobile web app will surface as any other website. Your app will always be one click, one tap away from the user. Reason number 4, 30% transaction fees are a steal. As a developer on the open web, you can easily implement solutions like PayPal with a maximum fee of 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. It can even go down with a merchant account, and PayPal also offers a special rate for digital goods. On the app stores, it's 30% for digital in-app purchases, plus potentially extra processing fees depending on how you want to get paid by the store. This makes a huge difference in your business model. One could argue that you also pay for being in the App Store. But if you're not a bestseller, you won't get noticed in the crowd and users won't be able to easily find you, other than by typing your app name, but they could have done this in Google with a one-tap access to your mobile web app. Reason number 5, this might sound trivial, but native doesn't equal quality. With all the hassle to get your app on the app stores, you could expect some quality control. Unfortunately, even in the most curated app store, the iOS one, you come across a lot of really bad apps with an awful user interface or user experience, which doesn't even justify the need for validation when you think about it. At least on the open web, if you land on a bad web app, you can leave it straight away, no hard feelings. There is no quality promise from any middleman, so no one to blame if the experience sucks. Whereas on the app stores, you need to log in, download, open, see the crap and delete it. And if you're disappointed, as I said before, the pain of the flow means you'll never come back. Reason number 6, most native apps need the internet anyway. If you offer an app plugged to real-time data or an app displaying a live feed or some dynamic rich content, you need the internet anyway. So why not simply develop a mobile web app seamlessly connected to the internet? You could argue this doesn't apply to most single-player games like Angry Birds or Candy Crush, which are so popular on the app stores. True, and at the moment, games are certainly the most challenging thing to execute in the mobile browser at a UX level matching their native counterparts, especially if you want to play in a non-connected environment like the underground, for instance. But it's also evolving, and we would just need more local storage, caching possibilities to free those offline games from the app stores. And finally, let me ask you this question. Why would you wrap your web app in a native shell? Nowadays, a lot of developers actually make HTML5 apps shipped to the app stores via different wrapping providers, like PhoneGap for instance. Why would you do this if your app could run in the main browser? Techies will argue that you need a wrapper to access some functions in the device. It's partly true, but browsers are evolving, especially Chrome. Did you know, for instance, that since September 2012 on iOS and earlier on Android, it's been possible to access your device camera via the browser to shoot pictures or use photos from your albums? Something you can't do at the moment with most mobile browsers is notifications, but it's coming. And in the meantime, you can always send essential messages via transactional email. They will pop up as native notifications through Gmail, for instance. You could also argue that you bet on the supermarket effect of the App Store, like when you distribute a product via Walmart. But did you know that half of the revenue in the iOS App Store goes to 25 developers? Half of the revenue to 25 developers. So I would say, market yourself on the open web, use SEO and other growth hacking methods to get noticed. You will have better odds to find your target audience. You could also say that a wrapper offers a neat full screen experience compared with opening the app inside a browser window. That's correct, but if you want to interact with web properties outside the app, and this happens a lot, and if your app doesn't include a web viewer, the links will open a separate browser and you won't be able to get back to the full screen hybrid app, which will close. You will have to reopen the app from the home screen. When everything takes place in the browser, you can easily switch between tabs, for instance, after a PayPal payment. Moreover, here again, browsers are evolving, as you can see here from iOS 6 to iOS 7, with less and less Chrome around the content experience. An invisible browser would instantly solve the problem. I believe that in the foreseeable future, the browser might be embedded into the operating system, enabling you to use mobile web apps without the need to open a browser. Firefox OS can be considered as the first attempt in this direction. All we need is a properly executed user interface layer on top of the internet, seamlessly accessed from any connected device. This way, all the apps would finally be web apps, with the notion of mobile versus desktop fading away in the post-smartphone era, what we already call the Internet of Things. To execute mobile apps properly, making them as sexy as their best native counterparts in terms of UX, you need outstanding developers. That's the main challenge today. But I can tell you, there are talents out there who are truly excited by this new frontier, reaching app excellence on the mobile web. Helped by technological and networks evolutions, we are heading in the right direction. That's why I think app stores are doomed in the long run, and we will eventually enter a post-App Stores era. You can discover our own contribution to the future post-App Stores era on Etsy.me. We have designed a mobile web app enabling anyone, even kids, to create mobile web apps straight in the browser of a smartphone. Some people see us as a potential GeoCities of Generation Touch, but with good taste instead of blinking marquees. We have ported the viewer and the maker to PCs and tablets for a truly cross-platform experience, and around the app maker, we have built a proper social network, offering everything you would expect from such an ecosystem, including messaging. This sets the grounds of an ambitious platform, which will enable us to launch a variety of services internally and with third parties. Some people see us also as a mobile WordPress for dummies. At the moment, the core of Etsy is the mobile web app maker, but you could replace it with any type of content generator powered by the same engine. That's the beauty of the architecture. Have fun with Etsy.me in your browser. We'd love to have your feedback. And never forget, it's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. But I would add as a final conclusion, the future will be what you make of it. Believe in your vision and fight for it if you want to make it happen. Thanks for your attention.